Welcome to the Rising Feminine Online Temple Season 3, Sisters. This is our third year facilitating a week-longs of sacred feminine initiations for women like us to journey back and remember our true feminine essence. My name is Jonita D'Souza, and I'm a feminine lifestylist, also the keeper of this online temple space, where I have gathered visionaries from around the world to come together and hold space for you to deepen your connection with your feminine. As a feminine lifestylist, I always invite women to bring in rituality to their busy lives so that they can learn how to nourish, nurture, and listen to their feminine wisdom. And as a participant of this online temple space, I invite you to create a sacred space. Give yourself this moment, maybe light a candle or get a cup of tea, incense, get your journal, whatever it is for you, get present in this moment to receive this medicine that has been shared with you today. Joining us today is Samjhana Moon, and she is a dear sister, also a visionary photographer and natural cycles mentor who empowers women to connect with their cyclic nature and discover their true radiant self. She guides you to align with the inner seasons of your menstrual cycle, to manifest with the moon phases, and to explore the archetypes of the feminine so that you can reach your full creative potential. Samjhana is devoted to offering an alternative lens for women that challenges the media's distorted projection of beauty and also releases the taboo around menstruation. She's also the founder of Sacred Feminine Photography and co-creator of world's first moon and menstruation clock, along with a beautiful range of tools to support and guide your menstrual cycle adventures. Samjhana was also People's Choice Speaker for TEDx Toastmasters in 2015, and it was an amazing talk. I remember watching it, and I was so proud of you, sister. Samjhana, welcome.
Thank you, Janita.
So happy to be here. I must say that before we began to record this, we just couldn't stop smiling and giggling and laughing because I think this is the relation I share with you, Samjhana. With the goddess energy and this notorious feminine, but also the deep wisdom that it comes underneath it. And I'm so glad to have you here and share your wisdom with us on this day when we are talking about sacred contribution.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a joy to be here, and it's great to be having a recorded conversation with you for a change.
Yeah, that's true.
Normally we'll just be chattering away on the train and putting the world to rights.
Yeah.
So,
that's
thank
true.
you for asking me.
As a tradition in this online temple space, before we began this recording, I collected my energy and pulled up a goddess card that I want to share with you, which is, it always amazes me with whatever goddesses show up. Goddess Hathor of
nice.
receptivity. That's the message. I know if you can read that.
Yeah, allow yourself to receive. This will increase your intuition, energy, and ability to give to others.
Yeah. So much related to what we will be talking about today as well. And I'm curious to know if this goddess or this message holds anything specific to you in this moment.
Well, the art of receiving is something that I think we've all had to relearn, reclaim, learning to receive. And for me, receiving the wisdom of the goddess through my connection with the earth, through all of the work I've been doing for many, many years now. So it's, so it has, learning to receive from others, from sisters, but really what deeply resonates with me is what I'm receiving from Mother Earth through my practices and, and just showing up regularly. I think when you show up regularly, you receive a lot more intuitively. That's definitely been my experience. It's the commitment to showing up and being there. And then, the goddess says, okay, you're showing up once a month to talk to me. I'm going to be here for you in that moment. Yeah. So it's that kind of, just like if you show up for a friend once a month, there's a good conversation to be had there. So I feel that that's how we can really increase that connection with ourselves, with our intuition, with our creativity. It's just showing up for it regularly.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, and I see you as this woman, showing up regularly with the nature, with the cycles. So, um, for the women who are watching us today, would you please like to share with us how, first of all, we're going to talk about something that Samjhana has beautifully created, the moon clocks.
Mhm.
Um, and I know before that, Sanjana was deeply into the sacred feminine photography, that which you call the goddess photography at the time. And I was so inspired, and I got an opportunity to be framed by Sanjana as well. Last year, it was, it's already
Yes, last summer.
last summer, yeah.
Mm.
So, how did this journey of creating a moon clock came about in your life?
Well, it's one of those happy accidents, one of those things that kind of, it happens and you kind of go, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Why didn't I think of that? So it was a natural evolution of, as you say, the work I was doing with the sacred feminine photography. I've been working for about 8 years at the time, working with women. But the photography experience was very much, it was all, every session was preempted with sort of how do you connect with nature? What's your favorite? What elements of nature do you enjoy? And what are the archetypes of the feminine that are connected with that? So there was a lot of exploration with a woman long before she saw my camera.
Mm.
And also looking at things like the menstrual cycle, the moon cycles, timing the session, the photo session for the right moment for her,
Mm.
so that she could really step into what it was she was wanting to step into, in her life, and creating beautiful portraits that really captured what it was she was wanting to work on, what she was wanting to expand, what she wanted to explore. So the seasons, the cycles of the moon and the menstruation and the elements of nature was all very much wrapped up in this. And so I worked with hundreds of women, in this way, planning these beautiful photo shoots in nature in these locations. And so I have this beautiful body of work of, lots of different women and different phases of their journey, and different, embodying different archetypes, expressing themselves fully and sometimes nakedly, for the lens, really unrobing everything and just saying, yes, this is me naked, this is who I am. And so there was this huge body of work that had developed of that, and it was really beautiful, and always an honor for me to see each woman come forward in this way. And I've been doing a lot of personal work myself around menstruation. I had extremely painful periods as a young teenager, and I was put on a pill because it was the only solution for me. And I tried to come off it so many times. I always felt like this isn't the right, it doesn't feel right to be like telling my body what to do, these artificial hormones, dominating my system, and not having this natural cycle. But every time I could try to come off it, the pain would come back. And there wasn't any solutions at the time. I mean, now we have the internet, there's just so much information out there. But back then, I'd go to the self-help section in Waterstones, and there was nothing there about menstrual cycle, nothing for me to learn. My mother was like, I'm so sorry, I can't help you. I don't know anything about this. And so I was just going off and off, on and off the pill. And so for 10 years, I spent, wow, I mean, I read so many books and I did so much work around the menstrual cycle to free myself of this pain, and found, and I did free myself of it eventually. And I worked on multiple levels, reading lots of different authors. And I just thought, this is such powerful work, and it was so woven into the fabric of the work that I've been doing, and working with the women in this way as well. So I really become an expert, if you like, at, in this realm, and I'd freed myself of this pain. And what I found on the other side was a huge amount of creativity as a result. And I just thought, wow, I've missed out on so much. I really felt quite sad. I felt like, wow, if only I'd known this when I was 20. you know, or 25 even. To find this out at 35, I'm gutted. You know, like, why now? You know, what have I missed out on? I mean, I've had a great life and everything, but I just still felt this kind of, I don't want other women to miss out on this stuff. It's really, really important to me, actually, that, you know, that women don't miss out, and that they learn this at an earlier age, so that they can experience the kind of levels of, you know, heightened creativity and heightened sexuality, and just the freedom of just being a woman, and being, you know, being feminine, and being okay with those more emotional qualities and the softer qualities, and allowing myself to rest, and all of these things. So I've been doing all of this work, and it was actually, I have to say, it was my husband and a client where, you know, the pieces just fall into place. So I've been doing all of this work, had all these photos, and the TED Talk actually was a good sort of transition here, because the TED Talk came up at the same time. I was nominated as People's Choice Speaker, and suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to bring something to the world. So that was really part of this transition of going from one to one to one to many. And so as I was planning my TED Talk, this idea of coming up with these clocks that for the menstrual cycle and the moon cycle, it was all happening at the same time. But how the idea landed was that I was working with a client. She gave me a gift of this clock, this moon clock, and it looked pretty ugly, to be fair. It was sort of blobs, white blobs, and it was confused me as well, because it had these like 12 dots like a normal clock in the middle. So I was like, well, does it tell the time and just have moons on it, or does it tell me the moon time? So I put a battery in it and stuck it on my wall, and sort of sat there looking at it for an hour. It's not moving. It's definitely not moving. I'll come back tomorrow and see. And it moved a little bit. So I was like, oh, it does actually tell me the moon time. So I was like, I said to my husband, I said, look at this moon clock. And he said, wow. He said, you know what? He said, this is what you've been looking for. You know how you said you wanted to be able to see what the moon was doing and your menstrual cycle was doing at the same time, and you didn't want to have to use those apps on your phone anymore. You wanted something you could put on your altar, something physical that you could, you know, connect with before you switch on the technology, before you switch on the door. He said, we could make one of these clocks, put two hands on it, and you can have this clock for yourself. And then I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then he said, well, beyond that though, you know, all of this knowledge and wisdom that you've gained, he said, well, why didn't you write a book? You know, you're always talking about it, and you've got these gorgeous photos to put in the book. And I was like, wow, yeah, what a great idea. So that's how it was all born, just through a gift from a client, and the gift that my husband, you know, my partner, my soulmate, you know, just him listening to me and my needs, and recognizing my gifts and my creativity, and just I was just like, wow. And when we got the first prototype through, I was so excited. I was just like, this is going to be amazing. And now I have a tool that I can give to women, not just another book, you know, because I mean, and books are great, don't get me wrong, but sometimes, you know, I mean, I don't know about you, I've got a stack like this that's waiting to be read.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes it's hard to sit through 300 pages in order to grasp a concept, in order to get started with something. And I wanted to make it really simple and easy, and give people a physical tool that they could use. And that's what we did. We put it together, and it just meant that literally within 45 minutes of getting the gift of the clock and the book, a woman could be like, she could go from having no awareness of the phases of a menstrual cycle and how she could work with them and understanding her hormones, to having a basic understanding and something to start with, something to begin the journey, her own adventure with. And so it was really exciting.
Yeah, and I like that you thought of something that is physical. Of course, a lot of women tend to use the app and go, you know, are tend to incline to reach out to the phone all the time for all of the, I don't know, all of the needs. Like your diaries are there, your calendars are there, your menstrual app, and you know, your entire life is on your phone pretty much.
Yeah, it's a warehouse, right? I mean,
yeah, all those pictures and all of that. But I feel like having something for the altar kind of makes this process like really much more sacred and much more personal. And this is also a time, like moon time is also a good time to stay away from technology and things like that. So the physical product really, really helped. And I like, we can see one in your background. So that's the prototype, isn't it?
Yeah, this was the original moon administration clock. You've got one there as well.
Yeah, I've got one here. This is mine.
I get clients saying that they take them everywhere they go. They travel with them.
Yeah, it's quite handy, and yeah, it's really nice to tune it and then look at it every day and just be aware. So I really like this concept, and this was one of the reasons, ladies. I also wanted Samjhana to be here to talk about our creative gifts because, like she said, that she started from photography, and then one thing led to the other, and then eventually she has created this moon clock. But Samjhana, that I hear, and you also work with women, so we women, each one of us have so many gifts, and they are in all different shapes, size, forms. It doesn't have to be, an artist. You don't have to be, a very creative person in your head, but we have ideas. So what would you say? I know you said that you have a recipe for women who are looking to make a creative contribution. Can you share with that?
Yeah, great. If anyone's listening, they've got a pen and paper handy, they might want to write down these few questions. So when I was first creating the Goddess Portraiture, so many people, Goddess Portraiture, Sacred Feminine Photography, that evolved. So many people asked me, how did you come up with the idea? This healing through photography and this transformation. And it was through a process of really asking myself 3 questions. So the 3 questions, the first question was, when are you most joyful? What is it you're doing when you're happiest? Yeah. So, for me, that was being in nature, traveling, adventuring, exploring new places in nature, and taking photographs. Those 2 things are just constant in my life. Absolutely bring me so much joy, so much peace, and I love doing those things. And connecting with other people as well, helping other people feel better about themselves. So those are my kind of joy factors, So yeah, that's the first thing, is what brings you the most joy? What are you doing when you are most joyful? Because if you can work around that for the rest of your life, you're going to be so happy. Yeah. You're never going to get bored. It's always going to be a great experience for you and a great experience for everyone else. So that was question number 1. So giving that some thought and really digging into that. It might be really obvious, but if it's not, then you can
take the time to inquire this.
Take self-inquiry, or ask a good friend who knows you really well, when do you see me my happiest? Your friends are often your best mirrors. You have some good sisters around you. And the second question was, what talents, skills, hobbies, what have I become an expert in through my life's journey? Like me with the menstrual cycle stuff, with the nature connection, so those skills and talents might be work related. So for instance, my background, I used to be an events organizer and an executive PA. So as a photographer, I know how to take care of my clients, and I also know how to organize an outing, a whole event around the photography, with the timing of everything and the timing of the day, and organizing a picnic and all of those things, So I'm really good at doing all of that. It comes naturally to me. So those were things that I had in my previous life, working as an employee for other people, but they were still great skills that I put into the cauldron. Yeah. So it's like, what goes in the cauldron? What am I going to put in here? So there were those 2, and also the photography. I mean, I've been doing it since I can remember. I remember taking my first picture when I was 9, and getting my first proper camera when I was 15. And I just, I spent my whole life photographing, and I just, photographing for me is just like breathing. I don't even think about how to set up a shot or light it, whatever. It was just second nature. So that goes in the pot as well. So the second question is, what skills, talents, and abilities? And don't put anything, even the smallest little thing, don't exclude that from this process, because it can all come into it. Even I had a job once, just in a summer job, just working for a bead kind of jewelry shop, in Cornwall, and I was making like beads and stuff, and even that comes in useful in my photography, because I make headdresses for people and accessories for photo shoots and stuff. So put it all in the pot, even if it seems like it was just this little minuscule like moment in your life. If it's something you're good at, put it in the pot.
Use it.
And then, so the third question is, what do you most want to heal in the world? What is it you're most passionate about creating change? Where do you want to see change in the world? What really bothers you enough to actually go out every day, get up every day and go out there and do something about it? And so for me, the answer to that question was women's comparative nature. With themselves, with others, this idea that we all have to look and be a certain way, a certain weight, a certain blah 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 blah. I'm just not being good enough. That's really what I wanted to change, because I just wanted women to see how amazing they are, how beautiful they are, and we really need women now. More than ever. We need your voice, we need your ideas, we need your creativity, we need you to come forward with everything you've got right now, because the world has been dominated by masculine energy for far too long, and it's got us into this big deep hole, and we've got to get ourselves out of it. And the only way to get ourselves out of it, I see, is through feminine qualities of connection, of community, of love, and not this comparison and this competitiveness. And it's not all about greed and money and growing things. Actually, it's actually, we're not in what we need to do is stop growing things and get into that reflective state, that autumnal state of reflection of, okay, what's happening here, what needs to change. We really need to take the veil down and stop looking through these rose tinted glasses like everything's okay, because it's not. We need to look at the world and say, this is not okay, there needs to be another way, and we need to find that other way. And women are so good at doing this, because
it's natural
yes.
for them.
These
instincts are natural.
Absolutely, because we are the bringers of life. We bring life through our wombs. We have, whether we choose to have an actual baby or whether it's an idea baby or whatever, we bring life. We bring, create, and sustain and nurture. That's our core. It's one of our core qualities, and that's what we need right now. All these decisions that are being made by, this is it's more profit here, let's go that way. This is just like, just chasing profit and chasing growth. If that profit and growth does not sustain life, there needs to be a different way. And that's it. That's what we need to do, is put life at the center of all of our decisions right now. Does it create, sustain, support life on this planet? If it doesn't,
not the other way around, which has been the way so far.
Exactly. We need to put that at the center of all of our decisions. And if somebody's saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't support life, we say, well, sorry, you can't do that actually, because it doesn't support our future. And we have children and grandchildren to think about here. Again, here comes the mother, to defend.
So I know that so many of us women sit with an idea, or we have some idea of like, okay, I want to do this, or I want to create this, but they are often caught in self-doubt, or they're afraid to become visible. So what do you have to say about that?
I'd say get out of your own way, sister.
Yes.
Get out of the way. It's easy to say. Okay, I know it's easy to say, but it's really about detaching yourself from these ideas that are coming to you, these feelings, these intuitive impulses to create something, to bring something, to change something. So the best way I find to detach from, I read a great book, you may have read it, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yeah.
Fantastic book. I love how she framed the idea of ideas, of creativity. And she talks about, she basically put it into such, she articulated it so well. It's how I've always felt about ideas, that actually, you know, they're these entities kind of floating around, you know, and they choose somebody to drop into, because that's how an idea happens, isn't it? It's the light bulb. It's a kind of boom, oh my god, I just had this idea. Right? But it just comes to you, it's suddenly there, just like the clocks, you know, it's suddenly there in front of you, and it was like so obvious, you know, it's like, why didn't I think of that before?
Exactly.
The thing is, usually we're moving towards that, and the idea goes, oh, you're the ideal person to work with. The idea is this little entity floating around, it's looking for somebody who has the skills, ability, talents, desire, to create something and to birth something and to manifest something on a physical plane. So this idea is floating around looking for the ideal person, and if it picks you and kind of drops into your psyche, it's like, oh, okay. Shall we work together? And then it's up to you to decide, you know, maybe you're one of these people who has 100 ideas a minute, like my husband. He's like, every day he's got a new idea.
Oh yeah, my husband is the same. The moment he's like, oh no, another idea.
Because the thing is that, like, these people, like your husband and my husband, in the ideas realm, are well known for activating ideas. So they're popular. It's like, oh yeah, go see Charlie, he'd be great.
Yeah.
So it's kind of when we start opening ourselves to kind of, yes, I'm opening myself to the possibility of something just arriving. Yeah, we don't have to force something or try to make something, you know, just coming back to what I said about asking those questions earlier. Yes, we can do that. We can take action to say, okay, here's a cauldron, I'm going to throw all these things in the cauldron and then stir it up and then just walk away. Just let the universe just say, okay, that's it, that's what's going in my pot. It's up to you now to bring me the people, the ideas, the books, that whatever it is that needs to manifest this, because it does just, you know, for me, it all drops in through my menstrual cycle, through my time of bleeding, through that time of, you know, deep inner work, of just rest, of just stillness, of just peacefulness. I get so many ideas coming through them because I was very much, you know, open to that channel of those, you know, that communication between left and right brain and the higher self, you know, that connection with the higher self. I was very open to receiving that. And so it's very much just about just allowing them to come in and then just deciding if it's something you want to do or not. And if you don't, it's fine. You could just say, okay, idea, you know, it's not going to work for me. Maybe you could go and try Shirley. She's got, yeah, she'd probably be good. If you want to send them on their way, because we may have too many ideas. But when you get one that you know is right, like for me, when the concept of what I birthed, it just came through like really fast and like so much information. You know, every morning I was waking up writing things down, and it was just very clear I'd found my purpose. I'd found, you know, what I was here to do.
So did you?
So, but it evolved obviously from that. But I think that's, you know, we really do need to detach from this idea and from this idea of ideas, right? They are just these entities, and they want to come and work with you. And if they do, and you decide to, you have to show up for them every day. You know, they're like a friend, you know, you got to show up for them. And if you don't, they might sit in the corner of the room and fold their arms and say, you've not been given
to show up.
Attention. There's no flow here today.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of see it. It's a relationship. It's a relationship.
So Samjhana, I'm curious of some of the hardships or challenges that you personally faced or encountered. So let's say we have an idea and that's just not it all the time, yes, and you are constantly required to, you know, keep showing up, keep doing so, keep feeling, keep changing things. So could you share with us, like, what is your process of facing an obstacle? when it comes to birthing an idea?
Wait.
Yeah.
Patience, definitely. It's just knowing that the obstacle is there for a reason. There's something to learn. That it doesn't mean it's no, that it's stop, that it's not. I mean, and it might mean no and stop. It might mean that you're supposed to do something else. But it's just patience for me. If I feel like I've hit a wall with something, it's just like, okay, there's something else that needs to happen in order for me to move to the next level. So what do I need to do to move past this blockade? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to go back? Have I missed something? You know, do I need to just go back and just look through the process again? Is there something that I missed? Is there another skill that I need? Is there another person that I need? Is there another book I need to read?
Yeah.
You know, there's often you know, these blockades are just kind of a way of saying, stop a minute, hang on, you know, or maybe you're going too fast, you know, and you're going to build something that's just going to crumble, you know. Maybe it just needs to slow down a little bit. So I don't ever see them as I don't get put off by them. I mean, you know,
That's the key. Yeah.
You know, they're challenges, but life's full of challenges. You know, what would life be if it wasn't full of challenges? We wouldn't have any victories then, would we? That would be a bit boring. So it's just like life, you know. I mean, you get to a certain point in your life, don't you, where you see all of the pain and suffering and difficulties that you've ever had. It's they've taught you something. They've brought you something. And when it comes to ideas, it's the same thing. There's just something else. So patience and just then asking as well, you know, just keep coming back to, you know, your higher self and the divine, and just, okay, if this is meant to be and I'm supposed to be doing this, I need your help right now. You know, I need you to help me right now. And asking for help is such a big thing for most people, but I think it needs to be just like breathing. Again, it's just asking, just knowing that there are, you know, you have these guardian angels, you have your ancestors, there are people, spirits, whatever you want to call them.
Higher forces.
Yeah, higher forces at work. And if they've given you this idea, then they want it to go somewhere, right? So if you get stuck, say, hang on a second, I thought we were going somewhere with this idea, and suddenly I've hit this. So what's going on? What do I need to do? Help me out. Give me a sign. You know, that sign might come through, again, someone knocking at your door. It might be an email that drops in, you know, from someone you subscribe to that just has the answer. You know, but it's really, for me, it's really about just trusting what feels right, you know, what feels joyful, what feels like, yes, that feels like the right direction, you know, even if it seems hard sometimes. So it's trust.
Yeah. The
Trust in the higher purpose of things, and that, you know, we are not doing this alone. We're all doing this together. You, me, and lots of women watching this. We're all raising this feminine energy together. You know, we are not alone, even if we seems like we are physically alone. There's always an energetic collective that's going on that wants us to succeed. Life wants us to succeed, always. You look at nature, life always succeeds, isn't it? It always recovers, always succeeds, always wants you to succeed, always. And it's just trusting that, knowing that, you know, that is there for you.
Life wants you to succeed. I love that. I've actually been making notes as you say. So Samjhana, before we close today, you have a free gift for the women watching. Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Yes. So the free gift is a little ebook download, which talks. It's all about the menstrual cycle and how you can just activate more creativity, more sensuality, more sexuality, more intuition, more, you know, just more feminine juiciness into your life, basically, by working with your hormonal cycle, which is, yes, very much what I'm passionate about. So that's the free gift.
And I'll have the link just below this video, so women interested can go and download and see Samjhana's work. Samjhana, would you quickly like to show us your moon clocks, the new version?
Yes. So the version we showed you earlier was the original version, but we've had to, due to manufacturing
the
difficulties,
creativity has evolved.
Exactly. I hit a wall with it. Our manufacturer said, we can't make them for you anymore. I was like, you what? You can't make them for me anymore? For 5 minutes, I was like, okay. Trust the fine plan.
Yeah.
So now we have a different style of clock. They have a glass front, so it's a bit shiny.
If you bring it closer to the
a bit closer. So they have a glass front, but this one's got the 4 seasons on it. So the way I work with the menstrual cycle is that each phase of the menstrual cycle is a season. It's an inner season. So we have winter, spring, summer, and autumn. Many of you may already be familiar with that, so I won't go into that. But get the free download if you're interested. That will explain it all. But this idea that, yes, of course, we are creating life within our wombs, and that we have these 4 seasons and cycles. So these clocks are battery powered. You put battery in them, and they go around 29 days.
Perfect.
So they go, it just moves around a little bit each day and just shows you where you are in your cycle. Get around to autumn and it tells you time to slow down. You have permission, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful reminder.
Yes, if you need permission, the clock will
Beautiful reminder to have it on your altar, so you see, like, okay, your clock is ticking.
Yes, that's right. It's like, it's time. It was autumn time to slow down, time to do some self-nurturing, give yourself some space so you don't bite people's heads off, because that's what we do. We can get angry and irritated with situations because we just need space and we don't know how to ask for it, really. It's retraining in that. So what we did, we had 2 hands on the other clock, one for the moon, one for the menstrual cycle. Now we have different clocks, so we have moon clocks as well. We've got different designs. There's 2 designs of the menstrual cycle and 3 designs of the moon clock. So what at first seemed like a horror show for me was just like, this can't be happening. It's actually it's great because we have lots of postmenopausal women who want to track the moon cycles, so they can have a clock just for themselves now. It's just turned out really well. So again, it's just just being with that, and
that comes along with the book as well.
So what you get,
how to use
exactly. So you get so we haven't got the big book that you've got now. The big book now we're selling as an ebook, with an additional chapter about premenstrual challenges, because when we did a recent survey, all of our community said premenstruum is like, it was like 80% of people came back and said it was the most challenging phase. So I did an extra bonus chapter, but it's an ebook now that you can either purchase separately, or if you buy 1 clock of each, we've got a bundle. If you buy a moon clock and a menstrual clock, you get the ebook free. But if you buy just the menstrual cycle clock, then you do get like a free guide that comes with it. And Jonita is in this guide.
Oh yes,
you are. Summer goddess session last year, so there you are.
Oh yeah, there it was a very beautiful summer day.
Summer, yeah. So yes, there's a free guide that just gives you a quick introduction on how to work with the different inner seasons of your cycle, and you also get one of our lovely charts as well.
Beautiful.
So I like to see this as a map and compass, really. Yeah, it's a bit like a map and a compass. It's your journey, it's your adventure. Your menstrual cycle is not my menstrual cycle. We have different experiences, but we do share a hormonal rhythm, and those hormones affect our brain chemistry and our body chemistry in a certain way. And when we understand that, we can kind of go, oh yeah, actually I'm feeling really tired today. Why am I feeling so tired? Oh yeah, I'm in my autumn, I've got a progesterone high. Okay, it makes sense, So we can just be easier on ourselves and stop blaming ourselves for everything that's going on and doubting ourselves, and just being okay with the changes in the flow of the feminine, and just
and getting a deeper understanding of our cycle in itself. Absolutely. So the book explains a lot of characteristics and also gives you guidance on what to do during each phase. Absolutely. As well, which I truly loved. And
lots of practical tips.
Lots of practical
tips. These things, don't do these things.
Yes. So I will have the links for these as well, just below this video. So ladies, please go check out. Samjhana, in closing, I ask this question with every single temple guide, and asking you, what does rise in feminine mean to you in a line, in this moment? What just comes up for you in this?
So, so the rising feminine is, it's our truth, our deepest truth, and our our challenge is to just trust it.
Breathing the same. Yeah, thank you so much for your presence, for your beautiful energy and all the wisdom that you shared. And I'm sure women watching learned something new, got some encouragement to go pursue your creative ideas and share with us. Thank you so much, Samjhana.
You're very welcome, and thank you for your time today as well. It's been beautiful to share this space with you. Thank you.